Have our guest is the presidential candidate of the People's Trust Party, Benga Olawepo Hashim. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, a lot is going on with the judiciary. The judiciary seems to be having a hard time, perhaps the hardest in a long while. But from your perspective, what will be your reaction to the suspension of the CJN?
Well, I think a lot of well-meaning Nigerians have already spoken concerning this. It's a sad moment for this country, and it's a setback for Nigerian democracy, especially for those of us who gave our all for the restoration of democracy. If you notice, most leaders of People's Trust were people who were engaged in the struggle against military rule. Koko-besse SAN was the chairman. Nasiru Kura, who was president of NANS. My humble self, I was in detention under Decree number 2 in 1989. Interestingly, President Buhari was the first person to be detained under Decree 2 himself. He made Decree 2 in 1984. He was the first detainee under it. It was used to detain him. Now we have democracy. So it's painful that issues that we believed we had consensus on when Nigeria transited to democracy in 1999 have been reopened. It's a settled question in our constitution as to the independence of the judiciary. I subscribe to President Buhari's anti-corruption stance, but it must follow due process. And when you're going to a national election such as this, you have to define your priorities. The priority for now is people want to see how this decision impacts on the transition process. There are parties involved. The president himself is a candidate. The CJ is going to adjudicate post-election and pre-election. There are about 60-something parties who are complaining about INEC guidelines, saying they'll go to court. If these issues come before the judiciary, you need an impartial judiciary that will be able to adjudicate on these issues, even before the elections.
You had earlier been quoted as asking the president to step down on reasons for illegal suspension. What would be your reason behind that?
Well, I think the president himself needs to be neutral and remove himself, because he's a candidate. He's not just president. And if he cannot guarantee an impartial transition process, he needs to also remove himself. Now, that was my initial reaction. And it's very clear that President Buhari is not going to eat to such counsel. He's not going to remove himself. When I listened to his broadcast, I saw a president who is combative, who is ready to take everything down, and who thinks that, look, I don't care any hoot about what you guys are saying. Now we have to be careful here. And we who have suffered most in the struggle for democracy have got a responsibility to show leadership and manage this process in such a way that we don't, at the end of the day, jeopardize the peace and stability of this country.